another episode of the COVID-19 Situation Room of Television Nigerian. I am Charles Ibe. Now, it is the 14th day of the lockdown of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Lagos and Ogun states as directed by the federal government in a bid to curtail the spread of the coronavirus, which has become a global pandemic. Now, several states of the Federation have issued several measures, including lockdown and curtailing of interstate movement of persons, except those on essential duties, in its bid also to stem the further spread of the virus in their territories. Now, currently, from the situation report from the National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, 323 cases of coronavirus has been reported in 19 states of the Federation. Now, how are the people faring under the stringent measures rolled out by the federal government, including the lockdown, which has been extended for obvious reasons? Now, that's what we'll be looking at on this edition of the Situation Room of Television Nigerian. Thanks for joining us. And I have with me today Comrade Daniel Atai.
Thanks for having me, sir.
And also Messi Joe is joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll be taking a quick break now, and the program will continue in a moment. Stay tuned. It is the Situation Room, and we urge you to join the conversation by calling the numbers displayed on the screen. You can also drop your comments in the comments section, and we will share your experiences with the world. Now, we will be linking up with a professor of virology from Benin City, who will be telling us some exclusives on the nature of coronavirus and some other facts you need to know on the COVID-19 Situation Room today. Thanks for joining us once again. Please try and be a part of this program, because it's meant to be as interactive as ever. Now, gentleman and lady.
Yeah.
Let me start with the lady first. Yes. Messi Joe, you're joining us in the Situation Room for the first time.
Yes.
And I believe you've been closely monitoring the situation that is unfolding.
Yes.
Day 14 of the lockdown. What has been your experience so far?
Well, it has not been a very nice one, obviously, for anybody, no matter who you are in the country. It has not been a nice one for everybody. The movements has not been easy. At times, even when you even show that you're a press person, it looks like they're trying to feel like maybe it's not true or something. You're still trying to make yourself look very relevant, but they're not still understanding what you're saying. The soldiers may actually still tell you, like this morning when I was coming, I was in the car and he was still like, please calm down, madam. Please calm down, madam. I still came down. I had to start explaining myself. It was not a nice thing.
It wasn't a nice thing. But also on the side of the people, you must have been interacting, you must have been seeing reports on the television, people calling in from different places saying, this is what it's been. So what do you think? Are Nigerians holding up? Have they held up good enough this 14
Actually,
days?
Nigerians have tried, mostly in Abuja here. Because most times there are some busy areas in Abuja that when you come out on a normal day, you see the traffic, you see how many people are actually outside the market. But this day, nothing like that. So it means Nigerians are actually obeying to the order. But I have some concerns about this thing, about the psychological aspect of it for the people that are actually at home. Now, we are always only talking about that. There's no enough money for those that are staying at home, those that they make their earnings every day. How are they going to survive and all that? But I'm still talking about, do we realize that some people actually go through domestic violence at home? Normally before, now that there was a lockdown, they could actually find a way to escape from it. Maybe with work or with this or that, but now they are face to face with reality, bam, in their whole house, and they are there. Maybe the man, the wife is the subject of abuse. So every day, she has to now know that, okay, there is no running. I am here.
I have to deal with it on a daily basis. I will deal with it
on a daily basis. Like she has braced up.
Wow.
And I'm asking, how is she coping? Nobody's talking about that part.
That aspect. It's just the economic aspect that
we're only just talking about how our economy is breaking, how it's affecting this. Nobody's getting food. Wow. These women, what are they going through? Those rape cases as well. Those ones of the fathers actually raping the children and all these things are going on.
All right. Well, that's another perspective we've not actually looked at in considering this lockdown situation and some of the effects of coronavirus pandemic, especially in Nigeria, especially in the African situation where we have a lot of issues with on the home front. I mean, yeah, like you rightly pointed out, a lot of escape mechanism when the man has to go out in the morning or the woman has to go out in the morning, but now they don't go anywhere. They have to deal with it face to face. Now, Daniel, we have been on this thing for the past 2 weeks now, looking at issues, and we just had a celebration over the weekend. I don't know whether it's a celebration though. It's still a public holiday today. Yeah. And then over time, this is 14 days, and ordinarily it's supposed to be ending today. Yeah. From today it's going to be a lift and all of that. So, do you really think? How would you sum up this whole exercise in a nutshell?
Well, the situation, we still thank God that we are alive today. And I trust Nigerians that some certain hardship they could pass through. This is not the first time of we experiencing this kind of a thing in the country. And I will still advise that patriotism should still supersede whatever negative intention that we might crave for as a result of the lockdown without palliative measures in circulation, Nigerians, I believe that, especially the youth, because from what is happening now, any moment, I believe that you had a statement of the National Association of the Nigerian Students, various arms of youth groups, they are also agitating to come out to demand for accountability from the government and the responsibility also using civil unrest, which is normal, which is also legal, to protest what is yours. Because the lockdown actually, for these 14 days, has not been easy, I must tell you. The average Nigerian is a workaholic and is a hustler. You understand, the average Nigerian, because I can't imagine I can't account for how much number of us are working with the federal government, state or local government. If you look at the statistics of the Nigerian Civil Service Commission, from the federal to the state to the local government, few Nigerian youths graduates are in there. The people you see there are old schools, people who are, octogenarians, and people who refuse to even give way. The same thing is true in the political arena. So when you look at that, it's a painful thing that the order is going to work more, cause inflictions, especially hardship on Nigerian youth, more than the civil service and the civil servants and the government workers, even politicians. They are not going to feel it. The common people on the street are the ones to feel this. Yes. The owners of the small scale business, medium businesses and enterprises are the ones to face this. Because if you look at the structure of the palliative, and especially that of the loan goes to the biggies. The palliative goes to the poorest of the poor, leaving the middle class. And you see, economy that has no regard for middle class people and small and medium enterprises and even entrepreneurs, especially those who pay taxes to the federal government, to the state government. And a time like this, no insurance is covering you. Like I say, 2 weeks is enough to even die, and is enough to lose billions.
Wow.
So we have to begin to rethink. If we are to continue the lockdown, then we demand responsibility from the government at all levels.
All right. Daniel mentioned 2 weeks is enough to die. And then, but we've not died.
Yes. I will not die, but I tell you, certainly people have died.
We will not die. That's making a statement of faith.
Yes.
A statement of fact that we're not going to die. We will survive this pandemic. Now, Mr. Joe, He had stated that, Nigerians have actually held up 2 weeks. They said stay at home, and we did.
Yeah.
Just a couple of incidences of people coming out and having brushes with law enforcement agencies. Looking at the whole situation now, he did mention about palliatives, which a lot of Nigerians have really had doubts about. It has not gone round. None of that. Now, there are some opinions that extending this thing should be the very best, especially when we talk about international best practices.
Yes.
A lot of countries have extended theirs because obviously 2 weeks is not enough. Now, looking at the Nigerian experience, aside from what we've been getting from the hinterlands and all of that, do you really think there is a need for this extension?
Okay, before I go straight into the question, Daniel was saying, talking about the federal government not putting in place palliatives for the masses. But I have something to say that I've been trying to argue or talk to a lot of persons about. I'm asking this question. These poorer masses that we're talking about, do they actually realize that regardless, this lockdown situation is still for their own benefits, for your benefit, for my benefit?
Yeah.
The federal government, they're in their house. They're on lockdown as well. So if you want to shake your body and say that they are not giving you this, they are not putting in place this for you, so how will you stay at home? It is not going to be my concern at the end of the day. It's not going to be your concern at the end of the day. We are just trying to put in place a measure that makes sure not only that this virus doesn't spread, that you also don't contract it. Right, I also don't contract it. So what's there so much noise about this, that it's not easy? Fairly said, it's not going to be easy because some people actually make their living every day.
Now, do you think in the midst of all of this, somewhere, somehow, the people, like you say, do they really realize that it is for their own good? There is this notion, I don't know, that perhaps this disease is for the elites, because we've not really seen any of the people from the hinterlands or from it's always the people who have flown out of the country or who just came back out of the country or had contact with an expatriate or something.
That's the thing, we don't know.
Yes.
We don't know yet. Do you know? Because now some of these big men that we call, most of them have their lower staffs now, workers in their houses now.
But they don't usually come in close contact, do they?
To come in close contact, we are forgetting about surfaces.
Okay.
Oga can still want to go to the dining table to eat now, and Auntie does the house help has dropped the food. He might hold the cooler. She has come in contact with him already directly, without her even knowing. So that's the thing, we're not getting it. They have house helps, they have security men. The Oga will hold the handle of the car. The gate man also will now come and open it for Oga. You have held it, you're in contact. So they do not know. Maybe they don't even know.
Okay.
There are people that actually don't know they have this thing already. And
then because the testing, it appears to be elitist too in the way it's being done, because I've not seen when they've moved into a satellite town to do some testing and all of that. So is there any possibility, Mr. Daniel, that somewhere out there in the villages or somewhere out there, because most times some of these domestic helps do come in from the satellite towns to work for their big bosses and they go back. Is there a possibility that somewhere, somehow, these cases are underreported in Nigeria?
Yes, perhaps not underreported per se. I could say that testing, verification has not been properly done, perhaps because the disease is just new in the continent and in the country. So we wouldn't say that they were underreporting the situation of persons with COVID-19. If you look at what the NMA president said the other day, he said that the number so far, that the federal government declared to have infection of COVID-19 might be more than that if testing is, compulsory for everybody, from house to house. Parastatals, ministries, department, come and do your test to everybody, just like in the case of HIV, where people have to go to check their status. So if it comes to that, where people have to go to check their status for COVID-19, definitely you hear more results. But the thing is, it is not a cause to fear. It is not even something that people should be afraid to say, if I have COVID-19, I will be, stereotyped, and then I will be stigmatized, and I'm waiting for death. Now, you have that so many scholars and researchers, and like the professor we're expecting to hear from today, has said that it is very easy to deal with it. It is because of the infectious state from persons to persons or contact to person. That is why they say we should stay indoor. Okay. However, a lot of people are already with that symptom-like disease that could even be called COVID-19, even if it is not COVID-19. Okay. He is of the opinion that chemically, because he's a researcher, he's a geneticist, and because of this, it could be that a lot of people have been infected with it, but it is not a case that we should say is obvious. So person is going to die because you have COVID-19. People have been discharged.
All right. All right. Now let's look at quickly before we go to the news desk. Let's look at facts and figures, especially figures. We've been told 10 persons dead from coronavirus. 85 or thereabout discharged. And then in all, we've had 323 cases.
But 2 new cases now.
Now, who are these people? Aside from the fact that we saw governors came up to say, I I tested positive, and some of them have said, oh, hallelujah, right now I'm negative, and all of that. We've not really seen, aside from, the popular entertainer, Davido, that said the wife, the fiancé, tested. Aside from that, we hardly have heard anything. Who are these dead people? Who are these 85 people that have been released? I mean, so somewhere, somehow, in the whole all of this, do you think everything is as clear as possible for us to be actually certain that yes, we have this thing around?
Well, I could say that we belong to the World Order 2 under the UNO, that is the United Nations Organization, and we participate in the Charter of the World Bank. We benefit from there, and the World Health as well. So anything that these countries, the body is orchestrating or alerting each member nations, we have to oblige, we have to follow, whether we like it or not. That is the situation we have found ourselves among the League of Nations. And we have to understand that bureaucracy and politics, even at that level, is also played. That is notwithstanding. So it is left for a sovereign nation to also use the intellectual, quotient to begin to there are certain things I'll have to follow. If you look at, for instance, the government declared lockdown and then asked the police and the military to enforce the lockdown, check the policemen that are trying to enforce the lockdown. Look at them. The two instances I've seen, they were not protected. If you are taking this thing to be very serious, or seriously to the extent that you are asking people not to come out at all, you get what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, the police force that you have sent, they are not protected. They were working with bare hands, no glove, no mask, and they even jam-pack themselves in the vehicles. So even the people from the NCDC who are sending us regular tests every minute, they jam-pack themselves. I saw them with 11 vehicles going to the village 3 days ago.
To test or
no, they were distributing leaflets, pamphlets to people sensitizing people that ensure social distances, and they were not in social distance in that situation. So the politics will know it, will know all those things. However, it is important for them to do their job, and it is important for nations to follow suit in times like this of pandemic, and it is also necessary for people to be patriotic, since this disease now is not coming through the usual thing is maybe you can contact this through sex, you can contact this through orgies, you can know this one now you can even contact it without having to touch somebody.
But the issue I usually was after this thing about the figures. Now, 30 something, 10 dead. Who are these dead people? Is it like an international best
That is
practice
why I'm telling
not
you
to
that.
tell people that
The people, those are the persons.
Okay,
that
have
died.
you also, we asked the other time, have you forgotten that up to now, they call it pandemic that has no cause? Have you researched what is the cause?
they said COVID-19?
COVID-19, does it have a cause? Doesn't it? Shouldn't it have a cause?
True.
Have they told you?
Yeah, they have.
But there are lots of unanswered questions,
But
even from the researchers.
So that is where you
themselves.
leave it at that. Even if you have not
So
seen
shouldn't
people
ask questions.
discharged, people, infected, the numbers discharged, the numbers infected.
But personally,
and
I
whatever.
have my own view about the figures
go
that we're
ahead.
seeing.
Yeah.
The figures of the discharged persons, the way it's looking like they're trying to feel like 85 persons have really been discharged in Nigeria. Maybe it's because somehow we don't believe in our health sector in the country. So we kind of have a little doubt that are these figures actually genuine, or it's just the government trying to play politics?
Yeah. But also we've been told also that actually those people in isolation, there's no kind of treatment being given. It's just like the normal routine. I mean, it's not as if there's one specific drug that's being administered to that's making them to heal. It's just like, okay, your system is reacting to it, going through the normal process of reacting. They give you the normal routine stuff.
They say they're giving you treatments for what the sickness, like if it's fever, they're giving you
exactly,
for fever.
for fever. If it's cough, they
if
give you
it's
stuff.
pneumonia, they're giving you for this treatment.
So you're not actually treated for
Treated.
COVID-19. I wanted to say COVID-19. All right. So much to talk about. But first, let's go to the news desk and find out what's happening in Nigeria, especially about the COVID-19 situation. And when we come back, we'll still talk some more. Please don't go anywhere. COVID-19 situation returns in a moment. Here are some news updates for Monday, the 13th day of April 2020. 5 new cases of coronavirus were on Sunday night reported by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, bringing the total cases in Nigeria to 323. In the new cases reported, Lagos and Kwara State had 2 cases each, while Katsina State had 1 case. The center further revealed that the total spread of the 323 virus cases was confirmed in 19 states of the Federation, out of which 85 cases has been discharged, with 10 deaths recorded. The Plateau State Police Command had deployed 2,500 personnel to ensure total compliance with the lockdown directive by the state government. The State Commander of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps said it has deployed 2,000 of its personnel across the 17 local governments of the state to ensure compliance with the directive. The Plateau State Governor Simon Lalonga last Monday declared a total lockdown from 12 midnight of Thursday, 9th April to Wednesday, 11 p.m. of 15th April 2020, and also established 10 mobile courts meant to ensure enforcement and compliance to the directive of the government, which it said was aimed at protecting the citizens from the coronavirus pandemic. The Civil Liberties Organization had urged Nigerians to cooperate with federal and state governments in their extension of lockdowns to properly contain and tackle the coronavirus pandemic. The chairman of the Anambra chapter of the organization, Vincent Ezekweme, made the appeal in Enugu on Monday, stating that the lockdown was the only proven effective way to check community and state spread of coronavirus, given the daily increase in the number of people testing positive to the virus. He, however, urged the federal and state government to devise means to provide palliative measures to cushion the effects of COVID-19 pandemic ravaging economic, social, and spiritual life of citizens due to extension of the lockdown. The police in Ogun State has arrested no fewer than 150 suspects following supremacy clashes between rival cult groups in Ifo and Shango-Ota axis of the state, which has resulted to damage of properties with disruption of economic activities. The Ogun State Commissioner of Police, Kenneth Brimson, while parading the suspect at the Ifo Divisional Police Station, refuted claims that armed robbers hijacked the crisis, adding that there was no report or complaint of robbery made to the command by anyone from the troubled areas. The CP described the incident as a case of cult clashes among several rival groups within the areas as a result of a recent death of one of the members, stating that the command swung into action immediately it received the information and had since effected arrest in connection with the incident. South Korea reported on Monday that at least 116 people initially cleared of the new coronavirus had tested positive again, as officials consider easing strict recommendations aimed at preventing new outbreaks. South Korea reported only 25 new cases overall on Monday, but the rise in reactivated patients has raised concerns as the country seeks to stamp out infections while investigating the cause of the apparent relapses. While speculations are rife with regards to the situation, Director of the Korea Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Jung-Il Kyung, has said the virus may have been reactivated rather than the patients being reinfected, while other experts say faulty tests may be playing a role or remnants of the virus might still be in the patient's system. And that's the news update at this time on Television Nigerian. Many thanks for watching. I am Charles Ibe. It is still the Situation Room of Television Nigeria. Many thanks for staying tuned. We'll be talking about the COVID-19 situation as we have it currently in Nigeria. How has Nigerians been holding up? How have they been coping with the lockdown, especially in the situation where there are reservations about palliatives and how it's being distributed. Now, gentleman and lady, we did hear from the news update there from very, very particular worry to me. I don't know if it's worry about you also. The cases of 116 cases of relapse in South Korea. They reported they were positive before, they tested negative and were discharged, and then all of a sudden they're having them test positive again, and it's an issue. Now, South Korea, we have 85 cases discharged in Nigeria. Should we be worried about possible relapses about this COVID-19? Do we really know the last about this disease?
That is why we must research about this very disease, whether it is genetics, like that of HIV that continues until infinity, or perhaps till when they will get the drug, that is a vaccine that will, eradicate or cure it. In this case, this is a new pandemic, it's a new disease in the world. Maybe if it takes up to 18, 19 months, like the World Health said, and Bill Gates also said, the world may get the curative answer to it. For now, I believe it is bound to occur, disappear, and reoccur, since the symptoms are also similar to the everyday normal disease. No disease is normal per se, but we know that the symptoms of pneumonia is there, the symptom of headache is there, the symptom of lung infections like tuberculosis is there. So we have tuberculosis case, then the symptom of malaria is also there. You understand? So all these collective symptoms plus the one of temperature, which is more or less malaria in nature. When you have +2, +3 malaria in types, you know that yes, your temperature can even go beyond 40-something degrees centigrade or even 80 Fahrenheit. So it is possible for it to disappear and reoccur again, especially if it requires constant maintenance or taking of the drug being administered. But
they said, Ms. Joe, you heard there's no actual drugs being administered. Now, let's look at the issue of the 15 experts that came in from China. Now, we are having reports from South Korea that there's a possibility that even when this thing is clear, it can still come back again. Now, the worries about these experts coming in, are there not enough situations that we should be like, okay, thank God they came, let's ask more questions, let's tap in from their expertise and see how we finally nail this disease in this way?
The thing is that, truthfully, I don't think even these experts have like some answers to the questions that we are all asking. Because if we look, like what he was saying, the symptoms, pneumonia is not actually like a long-term sickness. It's something over a period of time you treat and it goes away. So I'm thinking, that means if they are going to treat you for COVID-19, eventually you're supposed to be well over a period of time. and nothing occurs again. Now, and that thing, malaria. Malaria comes and goes.
Every month, sure.
Every month. Like, there's no month every Nigerian or African doesn't have to take malaria medicine. So I'm not looking at it from that angle again. Doesn't mean that COVID-19 eventually will become that kind of a disease that you have to be on medication
for a long time.
If not every time, like how malaria is, like when you are feeling the signs again, you now have to start the treatment again so it doesn't knock you down. That's what it's now appearing like, because I'm wondering why people can test positive now, test negative later, and still test positive again. Now those people that they have tested negative, they now go and mingle with the outside world again, and they are positive later on, and they don't know it yet. They are now still spreading it. So, are there really enough ways to actually this virus?
So, what we are saying in a nutshell, that perhaps we've not had the last time this COVID-19.
Maybe Oranome and Cyril, who is a genetist, and then other people who are watching us,
we might get
answers to some of these questions, because that is why we're here. We'll give you the best from the studio of Television Nigerian and the Nigerian News Situation Room.
But before we get to hear from the experts, from the doctors, the professors, all of that, another situation we had for the past few days, foreign nations flying in to whisk away their nationals. I just had to stay back and like, are these people okay? Nigeria, we just had 323 cases, and a country like Great Britain that has thousands of them is now coming in to whisk away their country.
They shouldn't be happy.
They shouldn't be happy. I mean, they should be queuing up to come here.
You don't know what is going on. Okay. Yeah, I believe you know. But you know, there is the fear. There is this fear about this pandemic that to some, from some quarters who have the correct information, if you look at the news flying all over the world, especially between US and China, I get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And when you look at the axis of Russia and India, you look at Pakistan, you try to go to Canada, check what is going on. By the time you read round like this, definitely you smell the rat that Africa will be the next. You understand? And the next, some people have that fear, and that is why you see Nigerians saying we don't want anybody to come, because the number here is minimized, minute, and then we are like trying to contain it because we could. And I believe our doctors, our facilities can actually address this situation. But you cannot, underestimate what is going on and what could happen. And for that fear, people are always coming. They that have the first class information are coming to whisk their citizens from Nigeria quickly, or whisk their citizens from Africa, knowing so well that the outbreak is much there.
Yeah.
But you can see they are coming to
take them to
evacuate their people
from their safe havens to
and here it's like safe haven.
Now, could it be like the Nigerian government? We saw how they welcomed the Chinese expats. Is it like passing a message like these people are not even confident of their own medical situation? They don't trust their doctors enough. They don't trust. Of course, we've already known about the state of infrastructure when it comes to healthcare. Should it be that these foreign countries are reacting to that and like, okay, perhaps it's better our citizens come when they have it to be taken care of within our own capacity, rather than have them in a country where they cannot really handle their own situation? Could it be like, is there somewhere a possibility in that?
Yeah, there's actually truth in what you're saying, because the thing is, regardless, we all know the African story, we all know the Nigerian story, we all know how the Nigerian government treats situations in the country. So how sure are they that they will be able to tackle the situation? So they prefer that they will take them back to their own countries where they are very sure of the health facilities, everything going on fine. Because eventually, let's imagine there's really a very big outbreak in Nigeria right now.
It's going to be
I'm not saying I'm hopeless, but if we are to talk on what is on ground.
Okay, so based on that now, we do advocate for, because there's been this about Nigerians who are trapped outside that actually want to come back. if you want to die, let's die here. now, like, okay, Nigerian government move in as well and evacuate your own citizens. Or like, let it be a kind of exchange. Okay, if you are coming to take your own citizens, bring back ours and then take yours.
Of course, it is time for Nigeria government to evacuate our citizens from abroad, especially in the areas where the pandemic, is high. US, Italy, China, and possibly the UK, because they just need to return. They just need to return. We don't have the case at alarming rate here.
Yeah.
So they can still survive in our weather. They can still survive in Africa. When you look at the footages from China, you won't be happy that Nigerian citizens, legitimate citizens, who went to do business there, though some of them have hanky-panky lifestyle, but then they are still our citizens there. Yeah. And I believe the law, if they have any kind of questionable character unbecoming, the law of the land should have, hit hard on them.
Yes.
So in this case where there is no legal infringement about their own constitution, I think the country, China, is not supposed to molest our people like that. And if we have seen the molestation, the next thing to do, sorry for snapping, is to evacuate our people.
So it should like more of a rescue mission.
The rescue mission. Yeah. And I have not seen any genuine source where that quote of it saying our people should pay for flight. No. I've not seen. So the mission for the federal government now is to evacuate our people from all these countries where the pandemic is high.
All right, Mr. Daniel is of the opinion that Nigerian government should please go to anywhere in the world where we have Nigerians, especially those high incident countries, and bring them back home here to come and join the lockdown situation. Mm-hmm. How have the Nigerians here been feeling under the lockdown situation? We went to the street to find out what Nigerians think about possible extension, because like today is supposed to be the last day. Okay, if the big news comes out, authentic, stay at home till whenever, how is it going to be? Let's go to the street and see what our correspondent brought back from what Nigerians feel about a possible extension of the lockdown situation.
This one will not be coronavirus again. Now hungry virus the warriors now. Hungry in Nigeria is too much. We are hungry.
See, everybody should stay at home. And the problem is that some of us, they don't have to extend what? Extend the lockdown with the bitter experience we've had so far. And let them go ahead.
Stuff I bought before the lockdown, they are almost gone. You can see me now with my bag.
In the morning I will run away because I have nothing to give them.
More terrible than ever before. I've not seen this kind of situation in this country since I was born.
I don't lie. First of all, the crime we go do for this nation, people will start to carry gun.
There's rumor going on right now that federal government want to extend the lockdown till May next month. Now we want to find out from Nigerians how have they been coping since the past 10 days of the lockdown. So can you share experience so far?
Yes, my experience is very bad because I'm just a businessman and the experience is so sad. Seriously, it's not a very good one at all. It's the worst experience since my mother gave birth to me. This is the worst time I've ever seen in the country, where people will be harassed of what to eat and where to go to the market. They are being harassed by bikemen, policemen everywhere, and they don't have hope. They don't have hope. We neighbors by neighbors. We are just helping ourselves here.
Have you been harassed or have you had any encounter with any of this?
Why not? From where I live, for bike to bring me down here, I have to follow through one way or the other before I can get to where I'm doing my business. And moreover, the business we do business on lock and open. Whenever we see our customer, that is when we are able to hide and present goods for them. Tell me, this thing continue with your family at home, how will you survive? And moreover, the last experience I have is very, very bad. Yes, I was robbed. I was defrauded in the bank, and there was no bank open. For crying out loud. If not that, I'm very patient enough. I don't know how we even cope. If not for neighbors that are feeding me right now.
Okay, now government is trying to extend the lockdown to May.
The go ahead will cause a lot of harm than good. They should also consider the poor people who don't have food at home. somebody like me, because right now the whole of my car can be frozen. I have evidence. I was just sent my younger brother just a distance of within 50 meters. He was robbed around this Nyanya, and they withdrew all the money in my account. I'm left with nothing. The only hope I have is to come out, so that I can survive, so that my family too can survive. That's the only hope. So you understand? You see me just looking tattered like this is not my wish. You understand? Because of the psychological effect, it's more than what I'm seeing passing through. Honestly, this is bad government in this country. I've never seen a government who don't have pity for a citizen like this country, like this government that we have now.
The extension might lead to many atrocities in the society today, because people are starving. Government starve people a lot. We survive by daily earn. You understand me? So let it be by leaving something on ground to make sure that we can be able to cross over the expired the scheduled time.
What are your experiences so far since the lockdown?
My experience for locking down is that I can't feed my family, I can't go to work, I will be sitting down doing nothing at home. You understand me? So and we need to go out and do our normal businesses.
Well, how are you in coping with your family, your wife, and all that?
Nothing. In the morning I will run away because I have nothing to give them when they request from me. I have nothing to give them. I will run away, come outside while there is total lockdown. I will leave my family and come out because of the stress at home.
What about in the night?
I used to go home at night, whatever we see. Sometimes we take pap and whatever and go to sleep.
The thing is so terrible, more terrible than ever before. I've not seen this kind of situation in this country since I was born. The thing is terrible. Our government should do something about the less privileged one. People are suffering. The people that go out on daily basis to hustle for the daily feeding, they cannot be able to meet up the needs. People are suffering.
How are you managing the family?
In fact, it was terrible for me. My husband, the kind of work that my husband do is daily pay, and they shut down the place now. So the thing is too much on only me, and in fact I cannot do it alone. The thing is not easy. It's terrible for us. Our government should please and do something about it.
Have you disturbed your husband since then, or
we thank God for everything. God is in control. It's take the grace of God. If not by the grace of God, people that doesn't understand will quarrel in this kind of situation.
so what advice do you have for people that their husband are not doing anything?
God Almighty will just take control upon their life, that God will see them through. It's only God that will provide for somebody in this type of time, in this present time now. Some people are even begging this time around. It's not easy. It's not easy. So my advice for them is that they should pray. It's only prayer that we have to do now, and let our government do something before people start dying in hunger.
Wahala, things no easy for us, so things no dey easy. Hungry dey everywhere. You see, we dey struggle to shop. Things no easy at all. The money wey they say they wan share give us, we no see shishi. Market kuma wahala dey. Wetin we dey beg government make they help us. If they say make we sit down for house, make they give us better money wey go. But this one make they just allow us make we dey pay our 1 naira. That see, e no easy o. This coronavirus, e no easy. Make they do something o. At least they say people wey get BVM, make they give people wey get BVM too. Make we manage ourselves. We dey hungry o, we dey hungry. We dey hungry o, we dey hungry. Corona, this one no be coronavirus again. Na hungry virus dey worry us now.
This locking down issue, that is very wrong. Because you know why to say this? Abakari, where he dey now? They say Arafat don't get himself. Abi? Bauchi governor don't get himself. For where they get this medicine? Where they take get theirself? Abakari, where he dey now? And again, shutting down the streets. There is nothing. You can see the way boys full here. There is no cash, there is no money, nothing money. Those money that they contributed, where they put it for? They should share it for people. See, people are feeling hungry. Everybody is annoying.
So since the lockdown, what have you been doing?
Nothing. There's nothing. You can see us. We are doing something. You see us where we are doing, but we are here. If you see some soldiers chasing people out of here, if the police are collecting money.
Okay, now they want to extend the lockdown to next month.
No, that is very long. They should just stop it. They should cut it. Whosoever that corona come for his way, want to die, he should die. They should just shut it up, or they should provide money for the masses. That's the final thing. So we are not happy by walking down the street because there has money there. Abuja people has packed money, keep they can stay there for 2 years. The single man has nothing to do. They don't want us to thief. So we are hungry. They should stop it. The people that are bringing it from outside here.
We are suffering. They say I should sitting down at home. No food, no money. How you want us to stay at home? They say I should lock the shop and go home.
What do you say?
I'm selling bread.
So that's just lock your shop.
Yes.
So what have you been eating since then? How are you managing?
It's only God that you helping me.
Be easy with those that do not have money. Federal government they only care for their staff. They don't care about whether people will eat or not. You told people to close the shop, lock your shop down, don't go anywhere, stay at home. They know that majority of Nigeria, they earn from what they earn in a day. They are daily earners. You don't tell them to go to your house to go and sleep without providing anything for them. No matter the number of food you buy in your house, one day it will finish.
Have you had any ugly experience so far?
The ugly experience? I'm a newspaper vendor here, but the market is not moving like before. People are not coming out. There is no money. It's only when people have money that come and buy newspaper.
Okay, now they are planning to extend the lockdown till next month. What do you?
If they extend it, it will be catastrophe now, unless they provide something for the people to eat. The government does not like, they don't even care for the masses. They don't know whether we eat or not. They only tell us to lock our shop, lock our business to go and die, and which is not good. You need to give people something out of what you have. Care for the masses, care for the less privileged, care for those that don't even have money, that do daily businesses. So they should not, if they want to, they should just relax it. And send it by 1 month or 2 months. I don't know how people will cope. It's be so. I cannot even explain it. But even right now, people don't have money in their hand again. Everywhere is just. Can see people outside now. It's not easy. You can't just cage human being. It's against the freedom of the movement. It's not good. But if they also if they posted 10,000 to my account now, 20,000, I will go and relax. I will not even come out. 50,000 is okay for me 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I will not come out. They should remember the poor people, the less privileged, and try to do something for them. Not those that are working for federal government or state government.
Okay, now if they should give 10,000, you can go home.
If they give me 10,000, I can stay house like 1 week. I will just buy food and keep it in my house. I will not come out.
This is too much because the politics don't enter for this coronavirus now. Because the contribution is to people they contribute for this country. He said he will share the money. This you get 2 days ago. I say that coronavirus. Say you want to share people. And later you go and remove the label. But this is a place of politics for this country. You understand? May they share the money. People get PVA for this country. May they share the money for the account. If you give them money, may go and share many people. So the money no go finish anybody.
They want to extend this lockdown now. Do you think that? What do you think will happen to extend it?
My brother, hungry go finish people for this country. This one go pass the coronavirus now. This one go pass the coronavirus. Yes.
Thanks for joining us again on the COVID-19 Situation Room of Television Nigerian. Just gone by, Nigerians expressing themselves of what they think about a possible lockdown situation. That was when we had day 10 of the coronavirus, when our reporter went outside to find out the views of people. Now, 14 days after, I think we heard a lot from what Nigerians are expressing. I think a lady there said, this is no longer coronavirus, it's
hunger virus right now.
It's hunger virus. So now, I mean, there's hunger in the land and a possible extension. To start with, is it been confirmed that we are extending?
It's not actually been confirmed yet.
So we still keep our fingers crossed. But then the going by the statement released by the special advisor to the president, Garba Shehu, he made some allusions to the fact that the extension might continue until there is some advice from experts. And then if you look at pillars, I've seen some religious leaders who have come out to say, no, don't lift it yet. That is not yet good enough to lift it. And then you saw South Africa extending theirs to the end of the month. India extended, a whole lot of other countries extending. And then, so why shouldn't Nigeria follow suit?
No, Nigeria will follow suit, from what I'm saying. They will definitely extend the lockdown.
They have to.
And you see that the lockdown is not the issue now. Like, Nigerians are reacting, and definitely many Nigerians will not even know that this is for their best anymore. Of course, so the onus is for the government, and it's on the government right now. They know what to do, and I believe they know what to do.
And then listening to and watching a clip like this, I don't think it's going to like tell the government that it's a lot. I mean, it's going to give government a whole lot of incentives or incendiaries to do what they might do. They might like, okay, actually these people are hungry. Should you think, do you see governments, okay, wading in now with more palliatives, or okay, just lock down and let's see what we do about this whole situation?
No, that's not advisable. I think if there's going to be an extension, the government should now try to sit down again and evaluate all the cries from their citizens. They should actually try to put in place some little things that can actually make the situation a bit bearable for them as well. Now, we know that the bigger people in the society can actually be still fine, take care of themselves, but the poorest people, it's not easy for them, honestly. So we should still try. The government should try.
Now, but when we talk about the big people being comfy in their houses, they don't live in isolation. If you have everything and people out there don't have, is it possible, if there should be a revolution because of this, it's still going to affect the rich people? Now, I saw a report over the weekend. I think some talking about the Easter celebrations. I think it was in Yobe State. Everything was normal. People were going about their businesses. The churches were open, the mosques were open, and people were. But they did try to put in a kind of palliative. Every public places, even in the churches, there's a huge tank of water with soap. You come in, you wash your hands thoroughly, and use your hand sanitizer before you enter inside. And then if you are leaving, you sanitize again and go. And I was thinking, why don't we have this replicated all over the place? Is it not going to be a good idea? People go about their business, but then with all the preventive measures in place, it's not enough.
Has there been any case in Yobe?
Not yet.
I think by the time they have 2 or 3 cases, they will recheck that movement. You have to recheck it, because you can't be telling Lagos now to come and do that kind of thing, that they should still. If you would have already contracted it before you go to wash your hands.
Yeah, but given the fact that even in the midst of all of this that is here right now, they're still asking us to wash your hands, use your hand sanitizer, maintain social distancing. Can't we also do that and be going about our normal businesses?
Yeah, because somebody said that a virus that could be killed by soap and sanitizer should have real solution, especially when it comes to medicine, because but from the view of this genetist, the professor, he said that yes, washing of the hands and then using sanitizer as well, it's like, wash the chemical. Say it is a chemical, according to his own, assertion and opinion. I believe any moment from now he should be reaching us to explain more to us about this COVID-19. So he said that is why they ask us to wash our hands regularly, so that you don't allow it to stay there and then get into your face. Because if it is ordinary, just a virus that is a living thing, the virus touching your skin can permeate and penetrate into your skin, of course, because it's a living thing. But because this is not a living thing, it will stay there until you give it, the chance to penetrate into your eyes or your nose or your mouth.
And then it begins to react.
And it begins to react. So, and the kind of reaction, it could either be spontaneous, or it may not. But the reaction, the chain of reaction is actually a spontaneous one and quick. That is why it's within 14 days. Since you still have body cells to fight against it, and your immune system to still fight against the external force of reaction that is coming into it.
All right.
So, Prof, if you are listening and you are watching us from Delta or Benin, please, it is time for you to call us and then reach us and give us your own analysis as regards this COVID-19, sir.
All right, before we get to know the true nature of this COVID-19, before experts wade in to tell us what they know about COVID-19, some of the reactions from the people in Abuja, one of the places that the federal government instituted a lockdown, we saw some people really expressing some concerns about the crime rate. Yeah, if this thing should continue, crime is going to continue. People getting hungry, they're going to break out of their bounds. They are going to have situations. And I also did see a video over the weekend. I think it was on Sunday. A situation around in the city center where they were trying to stop one man, and he actually lost it. He started removing all his clothes. He went naked and said, "We should just look at me. I'm dying," and all of that. You're asking me to. And the security men had a low handful trying to keep him down. Now, looking at the security situation, since we had this COVID-19, since we had this lockdown over COVID-19, are these concerns being about it escalating, having more of crime rates as a result that people are growing hungry? Is it really founded?
No. Crime rate could only, the lockdown could only instigate crime rate. But why crime? Why going for crime if you are locked down in your room? Do you understand me?
Perhaps as a last resort, there's nothing to do else. So, no food, no money, no stuff. No money to die. And then obviously somebody seems like he has more and he's not giving. So why not break in and take
anger sets in. Sets in. And so these things are bound to happen. Exactly. This crime. Eventually. It's going to be inevitable. It will happen. Exactly. People will break into people's homes and try to steal one or two things
to eat,
for them to be able to eat, because these are people that maybe on a normal day they wouldn't have actually thought of going into crime, but there's no way out and man must chop, so they have to improvise and they now start. So now we're asking what the federal government wants to do to actually curtail this from happening in the future.
So the only thing the federal government could do is just to send, the way we receive alerts from NCDC every day, maybe twice in a day we'll get text messages from them.
Just twice.
If you have more than one SIM, if you have more than one SIM, like I have 4 SIMs, I get 4 messages, 8 messages, because for each SIM they send you twice, and that is their contract that they are doing. So you see, they are faithful in sending text messages. That's what Nigerians are saying. So try to be faithful and reach people, about the 40 million people with something in their account too. I had wanted to put on my Twitter handle that please stop sending me text message. I'm tired of it. I know what to do about COVID-19. NCDC, the test is really bugging me now. Yeah. And then, so what I need is also, incentive into my bank account, because I have bank account with you and so the CBN knows my account. So they should send me money to be able to work well and live well.
And a lot of this crime is going to be taking place in most remote areas.
Yeah.
For instance, like maybe they are aware of one malam that sells goats.
Yeah, it's the poor people that they are still going to steal from. Okay, look at what is happening in Mangoro area of Agege now. Look at the mob action. I know people will take advantage, fraternities and so on. They will begin to cause mayhem on the street. I know this is definitely going to be terrible in the long run, even for the security to continue. Because you see, when this war begins, the security operatives, they always give away to leave them, let them kill themselves. And when they begin that, they try to look at what they can get from ordinary citizens, what they can steal, what they can craft away. So it is better to address this thing headlong, holistically, than to say pretending about it or playing the hypocrisy about this particular.
Okay, like on paper it looks easy for us to say, okay, we have 200 million Nigerians, okay, dish out 5k or 10k, and we just have so and so million or billions, and it's so easy to say, and it's so easy for us to compute on paper. But then in the actual fact of really reaching out, do you think if government should go along with the wishes of everybody in Nigeria to start distributing palliatives, that is really possible that it's going to go round?
Yeah, it's going to go round. It's going to go round. Let me tell you, this president that we have when he came, if you look at the body language of when he came to office, he wants to better the nation. Look, the SIP alone, I can tell you, the people, even some of the boys I put into SIP, graduates, artisans that are benefiting from SIP. I'm talking about the social investment program under the Empower, and then the social homegrown feeding aspect too. In Benue, I was handed the whole local government and about 130 women put into that social investment program where they have to cook for primary school students. And you could imagine. So the government of President Muhammadu Buhari is actually, people oriented. He wants to care for the people. And he has been releasing this money, and we know the problem now lies within the interface. The interface, the desk officers at the state level, the desk officers at the local government level. They are the ones that are trying to play pranks with this. And it is very, very absurd to see you not doing your job accurately the way it should go. This thing is not for you. It's for children, it's for the kids, for the women to cook. You see, if they could be corrupt with that little, definitely they will be corrupt if the president even release the whole billions in central bank. Because if you are saying one thing, you have to look at the other. Exactly. The character of people at the helm of affairs, especially when it comes to distributing money or distributing palliatives to people who are suffering, to the less privileged or to Nigerians, the interface, the people in charge, they should be people of good character.
So how do you gauge people of good character?
And if they are not, you put evaluating machines, evaluators and monitoring people who will monitor externally without their knowledge. It is very possible. At the local government, at the state level, there should be external people who will just come to monitor, get evaluation of what they have ministered in a day, and report to the ministry. Okay, so you still advocate for government in their ministry trying to give out palliatives. They should reach out. Like through, you did mention of BVN, you did mention of bank accounts. Okay, send those monies. So I think it's actually easy. It's very easy.
The BVN is not even every Nigerian that is registered with the BVN.
So that's going to be every household. That's why I was
no. Every household now. Now look at let's say we are 206 million, and then you have 40 million. 40 million people with BVN already, over 40 million.
I think it's 70 million.
70 million, which is already more than 1/3 of the 206 million.
And out of this 70 million, there is still a lot of the rich.
So if 1/3 has it now, it means every family in this country, there is 1 or 2 persons that have BVN there that could be credited.
And they will be magnanimous enough to share with
of course. Now people wants to share now. People really wants to share. People are sharing. Even at our level here, we are still sharing. You understand?
Yes.
So
but the thing that I've noticed is that with all this noise about federal government emboss money into accounts of the Nigerians, we've not seen the federal government actually coming out to explain to us why it may not be possible.
Okay, they've not said anything.
They haven't said anything, so it looks like it's actually possible. So they are being silent about it.
No, they are still relying on the poverty register.
There was a press release 2 days ago from the Ministry of Finance. I think they are on it from what the economic effect of COVID-19 on Nigerians and what they are planning to do. I think.
What part of it are they on? Like, they are working on actually giving money to the Nigerians.
Because the lady, said that Nigerians are actually crying that everybody, this thing is affecting everybody, and especially the middle class, not only the poorest of the poor anymore. Yes. So that the president is looking into how it could get to everybody.
They are still looking, and they will keep looking.
I believe when the president.
What they're looking for fast enough. Nigerians out there on the streets are complaining. They need this respite as fast as possible. And you did raise in your opening concern. You did raise about the domestic aspect of
Violence.
the COVID-19,
Yes.
especially from the feminine angle. It appears women are always at the receptive part
Yes.
end of all of this. So shouldn't it be, because over time a lot of women complain about their husbands not being around, they've been practically raising the kids alone on their own. Now there's an opportunity for the husband to be in the house, and we're raising concern again about issues.
Domestic violence. Now
So-
the children get to see more of their father beating the mother. They get to now have so much psychological trauma about it.
Okay, so you think it should be? Is it why? Is it just because of being around, or because of the economic situation? Because I recall that although it's not yet proven, but most domestic problems you have in the home is all about finance. Most of the time, it's about financial. When the man is not providing enough, when the home is lacking one thing or the other, when the woman feels the man is not doing really enough in providing, that's where you have a man wanting to go out in the morning and the woman will block the road and say, give me money for food today or else you go kill me today. I mean, you know that kind of thing.
That's actually one aspect. But
Yeah.
I think the one I was actually talking about domestic violence is that men cause to women for no reason at all.
Just wickedness.
Just
or-
wickedness, just
Could it be-
heartlessness.
Okay, like pathological.
Just, I think as a recent, there's research that most of these men that actually beat up women actually are going through mental illnesses of some sort, and they are not aware.
Or maybe they are products of broken homes or dysfunctional homes.
So they're about to put it back in place again when their kids are always now watching all that happen.
But the rate of this, the percentage of occurrence, is this something that should raise concern? Should be like, I think it's low compared to stable homes and where you don't have.
You know, the thing
violence.
is, we actually wouldn't know, because in Nigeria, do we have helplines?
Statistics. Okay, helplines for people to
Helplines for
report.
domestic violence for people to report. Because I think I was reading something.
Are you married?
No.
No, that's all okay.
No, even if it's not married, you are in a
I'm in society, and we hear
Yes,
this.
I know. There are times, in family, money might not even be the issue for domestic violence. And sometimes, if you are man enough, you wouldn't want to lay a hand on your wife or anybody, especially if the person is a lady. So, you see, attention. Ladies want attention too. Your wife could have money and you don't have. It is definitely good for her to use her money when you don't have. Especially when you prepared the enabling environment for her to do business or to bring something in when you don't have.
Yeah.
So she's duty bound to also cooperate with you. Family is for the two of you to build. I get me. So even if they say that the man is the head of the house, I can tell you the home belongs to the woman.
So where do the domestic thing comes in? If
So
the woman is contributing.
attention, communication, you understand, could make, and especially suspicion, any iota of jealousy, any iota of unfaithfulness could break the chain of communication, could break the chain of attention. You wouldn't want to give your wife or attention, or your wife wouldn't want to give you attention. So these are psychological or emotional traumas that could lead to. It is not necessarily money. People have billions and they still don't have their wives or their husbands can't have them. You understand? And it could lead to domestic violence.
So we should add broken homes to the list of casualties of COVID-19.
Yes, it's the truth. Because I think I was reading something and then something about what's happening to the US during this lockdown, and I saw like 25% increase rate of people actually calling their helpline because of domestic violence. So you can see it's actually happening. 25% increase. Like, I don't know what was their previous percentage, but 25% now added.
So our social development secretariat and whoever should start putting out helplines, because a lot of Nigerians might be going through a lot, not really knowing where to reach out for help. All right, still Situation Room, and we still want to remind you that you are a big part of this project. You can always call us in because our lines are open, waiting for your calls. Tell us how you're feeling. Tell us what is happening in your environment. Tell us what is happening in your community, especially when it concerns the lockdown situation. The Nigerians are going through right now. We will go for this break, and when we come back, we'll take your calls, hopefully. We'll make some other calls then, and then we'll still talk more about COVID-19 in Nigeria. Please don't go anywhere. Join us again after this break.
Magic Prof.
My brother, stay at home, stay at home. Corona dey for road, just stay at home. My sister, stay at home, stay at home. Corona dey for road, so just stay at home. Stay at home, stay at home. Corona no dey look face. Stay at home, stay at home, stay at home. For you to live a long life, stay at home. No wedding, stay at home. No school, no stay at home. No go church, stay at home. No visit, stay at home. No hunger, stay at home. Just prayer, stay at home. Only prayer for you. Serious prayer, stay at home. For you to live a long life, stay at home.
Corona pandemic by the Patriots Club of Nigeria. No country in the world is prepared for this challenge. The governor of New York is crying out for help. It currently has capacity for 53,000 intensive care unit beds, and current total need is about 140,000. New York State needs more money than the stimulus package provides. There's a hole of about $15 billion, and the stimulus only provides for $3.8 billion for the state of New York. UK is calling for 250,000 volunteer workers to assist with the deliveries to the vulnerable. The Spanish government is having to convert hotels into health facilities. The Italian Prime Minister cried openly as he strained to a wit's end. India has completely locked down 1.3 billion people in a bid to curtail the spread. The stories are appallingly scary. The information is terribly scary when we see our status, those of our public health system, and the level of information and acceptance of COVID-19 downtown. Please, let's imbibe safe and healthy practices. Wash your hands as often as possible, sanitize as much as possible, and ensure social distances are maintained. Please, and please, I can't shout out loud enough. Review your trips from over the last 3 weeks and contact check on people you would have met and those they've met with too. Self-isolate if necessary. We need to break the chain of transmission. Please call loved ones. Spread the love, care, and concern. Let's assure ourselves that we'll all pass through this and come out strong. COVID-19 is real and in Nigeria, just like every other country of the world. May God Almighty guide us through. By the Patriots Club of Nigeria.
Welcome back. Still the Situation Room of Television Nigeria, where we are looking at COVID-19, the very novel coronavirus that we are dealing with, that the whole world is dealing with right now. Yes, we will soon be going to our phone lines. We're trying to reach the professor who is going to give us a lot of insight on the nature of COVID-19. Is it actually a virus? What is it? How does it work? But before then, now, we have a situation. The government says stay at home. We saw that song, stay at home. Yeah, so we are home, and then palliatives. We can't talk enough about palliatives. We've seen the numbers they mentioned about help people Nigerians have been rendering, well-to-do Nigerians giving out to the government so that ostensibly they can reach out to everybody. But right now we are still having situations about these things going around. Now, are we really confident enough that this government is going to react positively, especially going in line with what people want at this point in time? We have that strength of that we really believe them enough to say, yes, they say stay, we're going to do something, especially as this extension is possible.
We're not getting the right words or statements from the government. So we can't say if there is hope. A situation where the government is telling you, we are looking into, we are looking at, we are trying to see. There are no words of hope. So that's why Nigerians keep reacting, because we have not gotten any assurance yet.
Okay.
So left to me, I do not know if the government will eventually listen to what the masses are actually saying or complaining about. But it will actually be very good for them to listen to what the masses are saying, because we want a government where we can actually voice. We want to know that when we are shaking, they're actually scared that we may fall. So they always come to our aid on time.
Yeah, and I've seen also reports of individuals trying to do stuff. We've seen celebrities doing some community action.
The cafe, the dancer.
Yeah, they did. And then we've seen Tonto DK.
Yes, Tonto DK. Yeah, that was a very nice one.
And then we saw a lot of millionaires, billionaires in the southeast. There are reports. And then even in the FCT here, I think they're on the council areas. Yeah. I saw some pictures how some well-meaning Nigerians came to the aids of Nigerians. There are pictures all over the internet, people going around with bags of rice, actually happy. So now, if Nigerians are taking care of themselves by themselves, then why should we keep waiting for this government? And besides, they said, if you feed a man, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Or if you teach him how to fish, you feed him for life. Now, if they give us this money, 10,000 naira, how long do you really think
it will last?
It will last, and then it's finished, and then we'll come out again and say,
and cry
give
again.
us more. So what really should we be thinking about, especially as citizens right now?
The thing is that somehow, I actually wish that these Nigerians that have donated to the federal government, like Otedola, all those people that are not actually with the government that came out to, I wish they personally did the project by themselves to actually go out and feed the masses rather than actually giving that money directly to the government. Okay. I think it would have gone a longer way if they had done it individually as their own personal project, what they have put by themselves to actually do, than actually taking it to the government. Because now I just feel like the government, they're only focused on how they will treat and discharge patients. But they are not even bothered about the masses, how they are feeling about the lockdown and all. So they are not trying to divide the money.
Okay.
They are focusing the money on one aspect and they are forgetting the other aspect. Okay. They were meant to actually try to circulate this money in a way that everybody is okay.
All right. Now, I got thinking, is there a possibility that government is trying to play safe? Because if you look at what is happening on the global economy, there is a looming recession globally. Yeah. The oil prices are dropping seriously, and economists have already started predicting of very, very gloomy future, especially in the African continent and all of that. Perhaps that is why some of the rich are not even willing to come out enough to start distributing what they have, because it's like, okay, there's going to be a recession, there's going to be a glut in the economy and all of that. Then if I give out all I have, am I not going to return to the same level with all of these people? True. So how much of this fear factor about the uncertainty about the economy, about what's happening out there, how much of it is contributing to what we are actually handling and dealing with right now?
This whole situation has actually brought us to reminder that we do not practice patriotism in our country. A lot of people are very self-centered, from the rich down, very self-centered, in a way that they are not trying to think about other people. They are only thinking about their pockets and themselves. It's actually a very big reminder that patriotism isn't practiced in this part of the world at all. Nobody cares.
Wow.
Nobody really cares, because let's even check ourselves. how many people that are on our streets that we know cannot feed have we personally given little rice from our bag of rice to go?
Okay, maybe if you give that your bag of rice, and you give and it finishes, and there's no way of replenishing.
Yes, that's
so
what
is
the
going to
thing.
happen to
Yes,
all of
that's
us?
the thing. That's the thing. That's what we're thinking, but we forget that.
Well, I want to disagree that nobody really cares. I care,
Okay.
and I have also a very renowned national and international compatriot that cares, and he's been caring for people.
Okay.
My CEO is a caring man, and of course you hear his patriotic history and orchestration in the country, Nigeria, not because he is based in the UK, but each time he comes to the country, of course, you see what he does. So he's a
But
caring,
Mr. Daniel, can I ask you this question, please?
Citizen.
Can I ask this question?
Yeah, ask me.
Since this lockdown, what have you done?
Well, the little I had on me when he boxed our account with little change, I had to transfer first to my family, then friends. I can tell you, the friends who keep sending even me, now that they know I'm not in government and I get this, sending me account numbers like that. I said, I have to oblige. If it is 1K reach you, please manage it. I don't have anything for now. And I will tell you the truth. You understand? Transportation and so on can make you really reduce giving. But if you are out to give, I could give my all and even stay in a place. I'm a kind of person like that.
And that's what we need.
So patriotism, he is like that too. And there are people, I can count patriotic Nigerians and citizens for you who are actually doing the work, trying to make sure that the country change for the better.
And we need many more.
So right now, this is the time for us to show patriotism to ourselves, to our neighbors, to everybody, because right now humanity needs it. Now then, there has been this talk about saving for the rainy day. So why are we in this situation if the country has been saving for the rainy day? I remember there used to be ECA, an account where they transfer excess crude accounts. I think it's ECA, excess crude accounts.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happened to those those policies about isn't it a rainy day enough? So why are we scared? Why is the government not coming out enough? This is a rainy day and we need our raincoats.
You don't know what has been happening to the ECA. The excess crude account, monthly, they used to, if you have X6 in that month, they used to divide it across the 36 states.
For what?
And some ministries,
for no specific reason.
There are governors who, apart from their monthly allocations of overhead costs, they used to give them excess crude, especially the 13% region.
Okay.
They have to take their X6, and then all the states that are not benefiting from the 13% derivation.
Well, those ones do they come from the ACA? I don't think they come from the excess crude.
They come, excess is for the excess for the month. If you have, maybe you used to have 200 million and then you have 400 million. So the 200 excess, you share it across the state. So it goes to the account, and then the overhead cost of governors too increases.
Okay, so in a nutshell, there's no excess crude account.
There's no excess for now, but we have the account. We don't know how much has been there, but they used to share it monthly, like I know.
And then we'll talk about bailouts and all of that.
Yeah, bailout, of course, from the monies that some clubs, international clubs, kind of don't pay us again. This debt is too much on you. We forgive you this debt, and then we use it to as bailout for states that are owing salaries and so on. And if you look around, almost all the states, apart from Lagos, they're owing salaries.
So now, because I think we should have more cause for worry than the coronavirus, because we still hear about borrowings and borrowings and borrowings and borrowings. And the other day we were still talking about something, $22 billion that we're applying for to give us to help fight the coronavirus, and a whole lot of situations. Now, if this is a country really neck deep in debt, and we have a situation at hand, and our countries, our citizens cannot feed well. Are these things not parameters for impending doom? What should everybody be thinking of? Because I think now this is beyond the country.
This is where that economist, I think Comrade Okafor, talked about the various money, the hidden money, that we can, bring back to the treasury and say distribute or disburse this money for people to begin to use as a palliative. Now, this is the time. You remember he talked about this same excess crude. He talked about some bank money with MTN. So various places where we know money is hidden for the country where they can pay now. I'll bring them those money for Abacha Lot is there. Don't forget Abacha Lot is still making wave. And so many ways, so many money. So people who actually stole money, it is, and they say they are recovering. This is the time for this money to work, the recovery to work effectively, and then let's utilize this money by turning those money to palliative for people on the street, because we don't know when we are going to resume from this lockdown.
Okay, now somewhere in this way, from a report we had and one of the briefs we went to, one of our reporters is currently in a venue where there's a press conference. Nigerian youths are actually talking about giving governments ultimatum, telling governments about governors, especially about the North Central, about especially these palliatives, what to do to help the citizens. And I begin to ask, is it the time for Nigerian youths to take this kind of action? Are we not jumping the gun? Shouldn't we be like, okay, after all said and done, now come and account for us how you've used this or used that, and then it might be okay, being conscious about what is happening, but is it really the time for, now that people are struggling to stay alive, for us to start asking the government questions or giving ultimatums and holding conferences?
A governor is the chief security officer of his state. Under emergency situation, there should be, fund for emergency. Because the reason why the federal government pays you, they've been paying them from the X6 and from the overhead cost, is for situation like this.
Is it like
security vote, even benefit. Like you said, you saw from the beginning that any state where COVID-19 situation is recorded, the federal government disbursed 10 billion. I get what I'm saying. And
is it a statutory amount?
Yes. Okay. From the initial start, the president did that. And then the president also said that state governors should also be responsible. They have treasuries too. The state governors have treasuries. They collect what we call tax, VAT, value-added tax, and IGR. So the internally generated revenue that they have, this is the time for it to work. And so if you don't commiserate it to the people who pay this tax, what are you telling them? So there should be accountability. So the youth are right for demanding for accountability in times like this. As a matter of fact, if there is going to be any civil unrest towards people on power who are not responsible with power, it is now.
Just because of the coronavirus? People should
when
always
you talk about food, talk about the isolation centers, how, comfortable is the isolation center?
Don't you think Nigerians have
sensitization?
Now, all these things, don't you think Nigerians have been too lax in all of this? It's not today that we know that our health centers are not functional.
Yes, it's not
today that we know that our roads are not pliable. It's not today that we know that there is high level of unemployment. It is not today that we know that governors collect security votes. So, is COVID-19 enough catalyst for uprising or whatever the youths are trying to do?
Well, the youth cannot be wrong for demanding for accountability. It is part of expediency for any political office holder or even civil office holder. At any time, as a leader, you should actually be, ready to give account any day, any time. Like I said, even if it is under emergency situation. So what do you expect the people to do, the people you are governing to do? They are the ones that voted you in. They are the ones that queue in line, and they have not actually been benefiting anything from the government. So a time like this should be a time a responsible government should show concern.
Okay.
You understand? So if you don't show it and they demand for it, it is their right.
Okay, now I go along with all.
Is that really? Is really now? Does it really matter now? Is that really the pressing issue on ground now?
So what is more pressing than death?
Now,
if somebody is dying,
and
either you die by hunger or you die by the disease. Death is death. So it's a pressing issue.
How they are related.
What when they say accountability, it doesn't mean that you have to come on air and say this is. They want you to do what that money is meant for. Use that money. It's part of accountability. Use it. Let them see.
Before now, there has been a lot of songs about people should do a whole lot. In fact, America, they used to say, think about what you can do for America rather than what America can do for you.
Yeah.
And there's some people, some motivational speakers borrowed it into Nigeria. Think Nigeria first, what you can do for your country rather than what your country can do for you. And then there has been a lot of civil societies telling people to do this, several means of making it, because they've already resigned to the fact that government cannot do everything for you. Government cannot provide enough, and Nigerians over time have gotten used to doing stuff for themselves. A lot of people can't remember the last time they had light in their area.
Yes.
They buy their generators.
Now you are talking.
That's why they're encouraging small businesses
Exactly.
now,
So,
because they know that.
So why should we now jettison all this and start holding government to ransom? Because aren't we supposed to have been self-reliant enough to forget about whatever government is doing? Private sector driven. We've seen a lot of things private sector have been doing for this country. Contribution of the private sector to the GDP is far more than what government is even actually bringing on board.
I keep saying this thing, the moment you can be independent in your own mind, you actually don't have to start relying on waiting on somebody else before you can
You people don't get it. There's something you're not getting. This is Television Nigerian. Isn't it situated in Gusapi?
Yes.
Asokoro, FCT Abuja. Is a private owned company, isn't it?
I was going to go there.
Now it pays tithe to the government. Let me say tithe. It pays tax directly or indirectly to the FG, isn't it?
Yes.
Now even if the federal government gives us power, electricity, we still have to pay for the commensurate use of the electricity.
Power, yes.
But is the power even available in the first place? No. I get what I'm saying. Now the onus of every government, first thing is a basic amenity. That's why they call it basic.
And when it is not there?
You see, when it is not there, you don't blame it on the citizens that because it's not there. It ought to be there. It should be there and must be there.
Now,
I get what I'm saying.
Citizens to pay tax,
you understand?
and you don't provide what they're meant to be paying.
I'm paying my taxes. You don't reciprocate.
You are not bringing the light. You are not bringing water. So what effort?
Are we not serving?
Wasted?
Are we not serving the nation now?
Good.
We're on air now. No. I want to get you right because I want people to understand this thing. We are serving the nation now. We are serving the government now. As a matter of fact, Aso they are watching us now, and we are serving the world. I get what I'm saying? This is corporate social responsibility under private effort.
Good. Now the question
private driven. Now, but it's being frustrated.
Which is why I was
exactly.
And it shouldn't be. The enabling environment should be there, and it has to come from government. Okay, if this private company wants to give itself that enabling environment, you will still see restriction from the government based on constitutional formalities.
Good. But where I'm driving at is this.
So the onus is the government.
Using the example of private entities like this, you said there are no amenities, there are no private enabling environment, there's no power, there's no. Now, if the person that set up this outfit went to sleep, okay, there's no power, there's nothing, and so we wouldn't have had this.
Yes.
Even in the midst of nothing, people create something. So what we are trying to say is this. This is a good enough reason for everybody to wake up. The government, wake up to their responsibilities, but beyond that, the citizens first. The most important office in this land, in this country, in every other place, is not the president's office. It's the office of the citizens, because it's the citizen that elects the president. the citizen that can bring down the president if they want to, if they have the will to. Now, it is that citizen that has to empower and build himself. We start with the
and that
mindset,
is what the youth wants to do now. Let's try and get a report from M&M.
He's going to call us. We're going to call him to give us. He's on standby. I think the network connection. But before then,
because the moment we start blaming the government so much and forget that we can actually try to make some things better for ourselves. That means each private sector will have to lean back most times because you are waiting on the government to do what they promise.
Even the government has realized the potentials of the private sector.
Yes.
You see PPP, a lot of they say private partnership, whatever.
Yes.
Even the NYC body, that's why from camp they are already supporting SMEs. How you should site, they call their site.
Exactly.
So you see, because they know that they can't sustain the society solely by just themselves.
Exactly. For long, we failed in that respect of providing basic amenity. And so Nigerians got used to it.
And started making alternatives.
Yes.
For over 3 decades. Nigerians are used to non-availability of basic and social amenities. That one is not a lie. But we should not be contented with failure. I get what I'm saying? So, and that is why there should be civil action. There should be protest. There should be, bodies where you call the government to its responsibility. It is not a blame game. I get what I'm saying. It is your duty, just like you were saying, the duty of a man and a woman who are married is to raise the children in the family.
Complement themselves.
Exactly.
So it is
because when the children grow up, they will have to
so it's the same
father.
thing. The government stands for you. So it's not a blame game.
All right, because
I'm not trying to blame the government.
My concern is when young people of today keep blaming government. Because if tomorrow we are going to be, they say we are the leaders of tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're not prepared, if you are wasting your time blaming, when are you going to get ready? So now is not the time to blame no government. Fine, we've seen what they are not doing. Let's prepare to fill in that gap when we come into government. They're going to grow old. They're going to die. They're going to give way.
So the old people even refuse to leave.
They will eventually.
They refuse to leave.
If we have the mindset of they do it for us.
Yes. I say they refuse to leave because when it comes to voting, they give you peanut. You still vote them in.
Which is still the
you are saying fellow compatriots. You are saying people that vibrant that you are supposed to say, if a youth like you is trying to aspire for office now, you get jealous, you say he doesn't have money, you vote for money and later come to cry.
Whose fault is that?
This situation can easily be contrasted with families that give birth to their children with silver spoons, and then their children are now trying to feel like, I don't need to hustle. I don't need to work because daddy and mommy will provide everything.
Yes.
But in some families, you still see some children that are actually born with silver spoons, but they work hard every day like they don't have a penny.
Exactly. Which is the right mindset.
And that's the right mindset to have. You have to be independent in your mind.
Begin to cultivate it in the young people. So we always use every opportunity, every available opportunity to talk to ourselves, young people. I mean, I wasn't actually tripping about the fact that people are trying to give ultimatum to government and say, don't do this or don't. No. Youth should give ultimatum to each other, form youth groups, get into enterprises, begin to there should be a revolution, not on the streets, but in our mindsets, in what we do with our time. What do young people do with their time? Do you go to the streets and you see what happens in this lockdown? They gather and play football, play bets, they watch movies, and then there's no creative thinking, there's not a lot, and then tomorrow you sit down and blame government didn't do stuff. But this is time for you to go and research something, form clusters, think about what do we do when we get out of this situation, how are we going to get better
after COVID-19.
After COVID-19, people are already crying, I'm hungry. How can a young man tell me?
Because there are youths that actually are making it and already have stocks of millions in their accounts.
Exactly.
Those youths that are in that position can actually start embossing money.
They are given. They are seriously given.
Some of them should start saying, okay, you want to start a business, I want to give 100,000 to about 5 persons. Tell me what you want to create as a business.
So
those things should happen.
I just want to farm.
Wake up call now.
I want to farm.
We are waking everybody up. We are waking the National Orientation Agency up. You have to get up and running. work on these are young people.
Yes.
Deliver programs, partner with Television Nigerian to give you quality programs on youth empowerment. I mean, how
on their mind.
mindset of the young people. Now, before it used to be bet, Niger bet, all this bet. You want with 200 naira, you win millions, and then you lavish it and come back and bet again.
You
Right
could
now,
even hardly win.
It's not working anymore.
You could
And
hardly
they tell
win.
you one player they are paying millions in a week. And everybody wants to kill themselves in the field trying to play football. I mean, for how long? Before you get there, for you to be enough to sign you to go abroad.
So are you not encouraging talent? Football is a talent.
Of course, it's a talent, but then why you play?
In the country, are we not supposed to have clubs that pay players very well?
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Everybody must not work as a politician
Yes.
or work as a civil servant. You can even create dancing school, music school,
promote talent.
Talent
is another venture.
We have dancers.
It's
We
another
have dancers, but those dancers perform well when they have a full stomach. So we should think also about our youth. In fact, I've always been an advocate of NYSC. They should turn NYSC 100% to farming. I mean, push them to the farms, mechanize these things. Let's feed Nigeria. NYSC is enough to feed Nigeria. I mean, what they get out of those places should be enough to feed Nigeria. We shouldn't be talking about importation, but then, like you said, government has to really partner with the scheme to make sure it works. Because if they put the enabling environments, young people are going to go there, they'll be busy in the farms, mechanized, it will be fun.
I think of recent, I saw a footage of NYC members actually now producing sanitizers.
Okay.
Do you see?
Yeah.
And that came as in place because of the Said training that they were
that
going
through
in camp.
Exactly.
So you see, there are actually steps to be taken and things can actually be better from the youth entering the society.
Multiplication of such things now. Like you identify 2 or 3 youth corps members that are producing sanitizers. Government should come in. What do you need? We need generator. We need a mixer. We need stuff. They can subsidize all of this.
My brother, the government has been doing that through the NDE.
Have they really?
The government, disbursed funds last year to state NDE, National Directorate of Employment. We sent people there.
And you monitored and they really did?
No. Few. Instead of all-encompassing youth, that the FG, I said, the policy of this administration are too good and perfect.
So why should we now blame
the interface? You see, corruption is really fighting this administration.
Yeah,
I
because
can
it's
tell,
one thing to release.
It's what I have experienced that I'm sharing. It's not as if they told me. I led people down to the state NDE. Hundreds of youth, got their collation, collected their names, their addresses and everything, and what they know how to do. Some are fashion designers, some are fishers, some are, farmers, various kind of farm that you want to do. We collected their names and submitted. They even said, in less than a month, that was before the 2019 election. You understand? Those things are still there with the NDE today. Their bank account, their BV and everything, still there today. Maybe somebody at the middle using what you call it cooperative society has collected the money. And
that's what we're talking about.
So it's still there. They didn't get it.
So it's still there. They didn't get it. But they announced that they had released it.
So it's terrible.
What we are calling upon everybody, if you are in a position of authority and funds are being relegated to you, for you to disburse to people, to make sure that the society gets better and you corner it. Well, some way, somehow, what goes around comes around. The long arm of the law will catch up with whoever. We will take a quick break now, and when we return, hopefully we'll go to the
call section.
To the call section. We're also asking you, please, to call in, tell us what is happening around you, what is happening in your environment, how the lockdown is affecting you, or what not. We will come back to the situation room after this break. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. It is still the Situation Room of Television Nigerian. We've been assessing, or we've been analyzing the situation with Nigerians in a lockdown, with Abuja on a lockdown, Lagos, Ogun State, a lot of states in Nigeria on lockdown, all because of the novel coronavirus. How has Nigeria been coping? How has the situation been hitting out to families, to enterprises, everybody? That is the question. We want to find out how you feel right now. We'll be going to the call lines to see who is ready to respond and give us situation reports from where they are right now.
We're calling on our correspondents at the Youth Center, Nigerian Youth Council. Hello. Hello. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ekanem. Please give us situation report from where you are.
At a press conference by coalition of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, North Central, the North Central Youth Support Groups, and Middle Belt Youth Political Think Tank Group.
Okay.
And a lot of youth here. The conference is actually held as a charge to the North Central State Governor to make more proactive measures to cushion the social and economic effect of the lockdown on youth and women especially. So they're asking for more direct stimulus palliatives.
Okay.
And that's they're all very agitated. The vice president of the NYCN, the National Youth Council of Nigeria, the North Central, laid out a lot of demands. According to me, he's making demands to the government to provide much more measures for the lockdown, especially for youth and women. And in his words, he said he's making a
I think we lost
that call. We are still going to reconnect back.
Yeah.
And hopefully get more. So you two out there can also call us to tell us what is going on right now. We just had a call from MN. We are youth from the North Central calling on the governors of the zone to be more responsive, especially in the lockdown situation. In the North Central zone, we have Abuja, we have
Niger, we have Jos Plateau State,
you have
Kwara,
you have
Kogi, and FCT 7.
And out of all of this, I think it's the FCT that has the highest incidence of the COVID-19. I don't know the number we have in Kwara or in I don't think
Kwara. I think 2 just reported yesterday.
And then in Kogi State.
Kogi State, one died earlier. The one that died from the US, Professor Achimogo.
And then the Plateau, I think we have further 2 cases.
Plateau 2, we just had 2 cases just because yesterday too. That was why the tally went to 322.
And then the governor of Plateau State, I think last week he issued a lockdown. I think from the 9th till the 15th. I think it's going to end on by 12 p.m. on the 15th.
A lockdown is even suitable for people in Plateau State due to the herdsmen crisis or the while, even before the COVID-19. So you see that the COVID-19 has brought a lot of put a stop to a lot of.
They have a short term, as announced by the governor, 9th to 15th. That is very short.
Yeah, very short.
So in a couple of days. 15th should be tomorrow.
This is next tomorrow.
Okay.
Today is 13.
Today is 13. Next tomorrow they're going to be calling off, or perhaps have an extension.
You rethink.
They rethink or thereabout. But now, really thinking about the North Central, what the youths are doing.
I think we have them on again.
Hello.
Hello, Amen.
Hello?
Yeah, hello, Amen. We lost you the other time, and we want you to be punchy in the reportage. Give us what their statement is all about. What do they want to do?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So, like I said before, the vice president of the NYC and the North Central actually made demands to the government. According to him, he said the government should take more proactive measures to cushion the social and economic effects of the lockdown on youth and women especially. So he's not speaking generally, collectively for Nigerians, but just for youths and for women.
For the North Central zone.
According to him, he said it's a demand. So we're yet to find out from him if there's an ultimatum to this demand, and what possible outcome, or what the possible outcome will be if these demands are not met. And we're still trying to find out the time frame you're going to give the government to meet these demands of the.
Okay, are they of the opinion of joining or synergizing with the National Association of Nigerian Students? Because just yesterday we had a report of 72 hours ultimatum from the NANS.
Well, according to them, in their words, they said all students are youth, but not all youths are students. So they're speaking for youth in general now, not just the students alone. Okay. So whatever NANS doing, it's under what they're doing as well.
Okay.
Or they're focused on the same, achieving the same results.
Exactly. All right. Are there specifics, like on the specific, what specifically are they asking their governors to do? Is it that the governors should give them money as a palliative, or is it governors should provide jobs or incentives? What exactly are they asking? Because it's kind of
it's incentive.
Okay, I think they're more concerned about more direct stimulus. So they have the opinion that the same way they conduct elections and go from house to house to get votes from people, they should use the same means as well to issue out these palliatives to the youth, the people.
All right. Thank you very much, Amen, for that wonderful report. So get your report together so we can make use of them here.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. That was reporter Amen reporting about the action young people are taking in the North Central Nigeria, trying to hold their governors responsible. That's calling specifically that.
Yes.
You have
I like that point.
Yeah.
The point of the way during the election, they can actually go house to house to solicit for votes. They can actually put that back in place to get the parliament.
But do you see this? Is it achievable?
Yes, that is demand from the citizen now. The citizen have given you, so it is your turn to give to them.
But looking at our peculiarities, looking at the realities of Nigeria, we've been making demands forever. And
we have not been enforcing demands. Okay. Let me tell you, the youth of Nigeria that I used to know, they are not the same again. If you look at the trend of the election that passed, Nigerians before used to vote on party ground. Now they decided to vote on candidates, even though we do not have this independent candidate in our constitution yet. But you saw the way the voting pattern went.
And we also saw the way ballot boxes were snatched by young people.
Yes.
We also saw the way
the same youth
was being carried out.
Yeah, because some segment of the youth actually you can't get everybody to think your way at the same time. Yeah. But I'm telling you, the growing percentage of the political ideology is more of candidate than party, and more of awareness, positive awareness, than what usually giving us money and you just say, okay, let this be. It's not going to be business as usual. So if people can wake up and begin to agitate for their common right, their legitimate right, I don't see anything wrong with it.
And you don't think somehow the leaders of all these groups are going to be called for settlement by whoever is supposed to.
Well,
that's the thing.
Yeah, you have a point.
It's one thing to say
you have
they want to try
point.
to start up a protest. It's another thing to know if their leaders are not being drawn behind.
You have a point there, but we have characters, especially in the North Central, before we elected them. In the North Central, we have characters. They pass through test. I get in and scrutiny. Not only that, but over time we've watched some people how they do their activism. If you are for money, we call you the Bemite one. We know those ones that go for pocho, and we know them. But those ones who are standing for right, who stand for egalitarianism, we know them.
And you can say what percentage of these youths are in this category?
Let me say 30% of our youth now in the North Central. They are standing their ground. And let me tell you, that 30% can influence the 70%.
Really?
Yes, and that's why we gave them leadership roles. I'm a member too. I get what I'm saying? I'm a member of the NYC, and we have a lot coming on before 2023.
Okay, so
but I have one question to ask. How many of these protests by these youths have actually yielded good results?
That we can fall back on.
That we can fall back on. Something at this point
in time.
Yielded this, the federal government listened, and then how many?
The NANS body, the federal government has listened to NANS many a times, and the NYC, of course, the Nigerian Youth Council, and with this northern, we have North Central, we have Arewa. So you see, from all the segregations, they combine together to form the NYC, from north, east, west, south, and from the 6 geopolitical zones. I get me. Now, if we are coming out to agitate, you must meet up our demand, because the demand has been always met. It has been. Like we talk about power sharing. Before you used to have, if you are not from 50, 60 upward, you don't have way into power. We have decided that now we don't want that category. We want anybody even from 25 down to 50 could want to begin to field them to elective position and force some people to come in for the betterment of the environment, and they have accepted.
Now, do you have...
Are you getting me? The various government have accepted.
Now, it's a good thing that you are part of this. At least you can give us insight.
Lots of
do you have capacity building platforms for these young people? Because it's not enough to like trust leadership upon them. Like say, okay, because you are outspoken, you are vibrant, or okay, lead this and all of that. Are there capacity building processes for these young people? And if you have, why is it still like 30% of this whole population that is still keying into the real patriotism and whatever, like you mentioned? So why is the capacity building not trickling down? Isn't it like a defeated project? Because if you ask me, 30% is not good enough.
You see, when you say youth, I told you that the average Nigerian youth is used to, the normal failure and always blaming the failure, not fighting for how the failure could be corrected.
That's now, you can say 70% of Nigerian youths
are
still thinking in that direction.
Look, it is still dicey among the 70% because of the orientation we are giving them. We are giving them orientation via the social media. We are giving them orientation via all the social media platforms. We have various groups, and we are teaching. We are teaching that this is the best way to do patriotism. Because
orientation about what exactly? So
orientation about patriotism, about how to better the society, how to fight for your right
by themselves without actually waiting for the government.
By themselves, demanding for egalitarianism.
In place where they are demanding and their demands are not being met, what measures are you giving them to take home with?
If the demand are not being met and it is supposed to be met, we go for civil action.
Civil action in the terms of you print banners, you print posters. We've seen enough of this all over in front of the.
They're still not yielding anything.
I mean, it goes by the second.
You may say it is not yielding, but I tell you, it is yielding gradually. It is not to go in that speed where you cause damages or became lawless.
Yes.
We have to go meticulously,
Like the shites people.
using legal means. Are you getting me? Using, exploring every avenue. The media, you can hold press conferences, you can go to court, you can even write petition to the various bodies, ICPC, EFCC, demanding accountability.
But
So
are
there are
efforts not being jeopardized? Like
most of the efforts, most of the times, 60 out of 100, they will frustrate you because the powers that be will want to fight you. They want to target you as being stubborn, especially if you are not compromising. If you are not compromising to their demands.
And you have enough of factionalization of this NYC Youth Council.
They will say this one is being sponsored by this politician. So you have to take a ground that no, you are not politically affiliated. And once you are not politically affiliated, people take you serious.
So now all these youth bodies, are they now united enough?
Yes,
to have one voice?
That's why they have the Youth Council of Nigeria.
No, the question is, are they really united enough to have one voice?
Yes, they are united. If the chapters, the national chapters call now, you will see everybody from the various states and to converge.
But I'm sure
we have parliament too.
I'm sure we understand that voices in the physical are different from the behind.
Yes, of course, but we don't have shadow speaking for us. We have to have the realities. Real people speaking for us.
Yes.
All right, it's a good thing that Nigerian youths are waking up to their responsibility. Cheering news from Engineer Dan. I mean, a lot of the Nigerians are thinking Nigeria, thinking about patriotism, thinking about moving Nigeria forward, thinking about service to humanity, which is very, very, very laudable. And we encourage every youth out there to please key into schemes like this that will, in the long run, affect everybody, affect humanity, affect our community, affect Nigeria for the better. Let's go to the street and find out what Chinwe Osifiogo found out when she went to these satellite towns to look at how the COVID-19 lockdown has impacted on the economy, on the markets especially of the Nigerians. Let's see.
Nigerians are observing a stay-at-home order due to the coronavirus pandemic in the country. Following that development, food items in the market has rapidly increased. I'm in the market to find out the prices of food items in the market. So stay with us. So how has this coronavirus pandemic affected the prices of food items?
No be small thing, e affect well. Garri they say 700 naira badge. So now na 22,000, mudu 300, red 350, badge before 12,000, now 22,000, rice 30,000 badge. This one it don't pass Corolla. Food hungry won't keep people for house. May they help us. No light. How person go there for house without light? They must come outside, come take breeze now. Corolla hungry, people won't die. May they help us. Make Buhari help us. May they help us. May they open way for us.
What about your customers? Did they come soon?
Oh, they no come. Oh, they no come at all. They no come.
Why you think so?
They no come. Some people they come in for phone say they won't buy credit. I say if you sell credit, I'll take go buy another one. People they hungry well. So may they help us.
Actually, it affected it because in the place of transportation, made these things to get higher. Then, like what we normally sell, like even garri, rice, is growing higher because of maybe the transport and other things. In the food items is growing higher actually. Like rice now is about 30,000 a bag. Then garri, which goes at about 15,000 before, goes about 20-something thousand a bag of garri. And then the transportation, bringing it down from Masaka, is always at a high rate.
So how has it affected your customers?
Well, we are just managing. Just few that comes and buy. Just few persons. So it's affecting us seriously because of the high cost.
So what advice do you have for the government?
Well, the government has to look into it because in the first place, they don't allow people to travel. And because of the restriction, things goes higher. Transportation is high and every other thing is high. Well, we are hearing that the government has to share things to the people. But for now, we have not seen anything in any residence in here in Kurunduma. And we don't know why it's like that. I think this is okay.
I want the government to listen up.
Yeah, I want them to know that it's good for them to go house by house as a resident because it's a sort of census. Because if you are going on census, you go house to house. But we have not seen anything up to now in the whole residence of Kurunduma. If that is done, we don't know. And if it is even going on, we don't know. Because we have not seen any of them.
Yeah, it's affected. Because before we used to buy food very cheap. But for now, we don't even see the food, talk less of buying. Because they block all the road that people like from Kaduna or Jos that they used to bring food, or Niger State that they used to bring food. So there is no way for now. And for us that are living here in Abuja villages, we are not rich people. We are very poor people, and they block the road without giving us any food to eat. Government didn't give us food. So we are very, very suffering. Just 3 days. Even me now, since morning, I didn't eat. Since today morning.
So what are the food items that have increased?
Like yam and rice and other food, and pure water. Even pure water is very hard to get now. Because before we used to buy pure water 10 naira. But now some places we used to sell 20 naira, 30 naira because of it's very difficult to get.
So how are your customers reacting to this?
Many of our customers don't even have money to buy the things at the shop. Because some of them used to go market like Gariki market, Wuse market and other market, and they used to go work as in the site. So for now, there is no work. They have blocked everywhere. They don't even have money to buy things in their area here. So that's why what is affecting people.
So what exactly do you want the government to do to curtail such from happening?
What we want from government is government should help the poor people and give them food so that people can stop suffering.
It's affected very, very well. Because the people that when they go work, they will come back and buy something for us. When they no work and no money, when they come, tell you to say credit. You carry the little money where you get to go buy another one, very costly. And then man no get money to come and buy. So it affect us seriously.
What about your customers?
My customers, they are complaining no money and no food. And it's very, very affect us. I don't know what are we going to do.
So how much are you buying things now, or are you free to go and buy your things?
You are not free to go. You are not free to go buy. No motor moving like that to enter, go buy. And the little one we get, no money to come and buy for us. It's affecting us well.
So what do you want the government to do?
So I'm begging government, anyway where they go, feel help to make people to move, looking for food. Let's call God, that God will help us to stop this coronavirus.
My sister, this one is very, very terrible. We affected it very, very terrible because things are double. Expensive things are double because a bag of rice now in the market is 28,000 naira. Why 1 month ago is 23,500. But right now, if you see the foreign rice in the market, it's 29,000. A mood of rice now is 1,000 naira. Before it's 700. A mood now is 1,000. So very well, say a bag of gari is 21,000 naira. You don't even see it. No matter of price. If you demand gari now, you cannot see it. White gari is 8,500. Now it's 16,000, 17,000. So things is double. They are dead. And people are suffering because there's no money in town. There's no money.
So what about your customers? What are the reactions of your customers?
Anyway, I thank God because I get some customers who are able to apply
and do what anywhere it can do. Because all those things, I have people who can buy 5 mudu and come and buy 3 mudu, 2 mudu to go and manage. I have other people who can buy rice, half bag, 1 bag, but now they just go to mudu because they cannot afford 1 bag again, they cannot afford half bag again. So that is the major problem what is in the market. Things are terrible.
Your advice to the government?
I'm advising government to look about it, especially this issue of sickness. When they look over it, or at least make them help some of those poor who cannot be able to afford 1 mudu of gari. Any little to help people are standing just for rubbish. Some don't even afford to eat a plate. Some don't even afford to even eat a day. Not less of 3 times a day.
Hi, it's very, very critical. This could have a loss. Before, I chop 3 times, but now, since the morning I never eat. To be sincere with you, I never eat this morning. I went to buy gari to soak. They say gari 1 mudu, why they buy 150 before is 400 naira. And I 150 I carry go. Now I go back. As they see me like this, they wear me. Let's government provide provision for the poor. I beg.
Okay, so is
Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the Situation Room, and we just came back from the street where Chinwendu Osisi took us around to hear the views of Nigerians, how the economic situation orchestrated by the coronavirus pandemic is really affecting the local market. The price of gari, the price of everything has gone up. In fact, that is when you see it to buy, and also when you have the money to buy it. Now,
just that last statement just kept me wondering.
Yes, because it's no longer funny. I mean, what Nigerians are going through right now, it is real. It's a real situation, and it's staring us in the face.
And that boils down to farming, like I said.
Yeah.
So people who are farmers now, they're going to make more money. So if you think that farming is no business, think about what everybody in the city are eating.
Exactly.
You understand? The gari, he said, that is a cassava grain.
Yeah.
He said they used to buy it 159, it's 400 just per cup. I know guys wants to go and soak that one with granite and kuli to eat.
So then you probably some hectares in your land.
Yeah, we have land. We have land in my state. We have land. I have land. So I'm thinking of going more into farming because you could feed even the whole of your town.
Exactly.
If you farm very well, you could feed. There's nothing hard in farming.
About a decade ago, this is what lots of people would have loved to be hearing. That people actually being interested in farming.
No, the joy is that when you are harvesting, you get joy because this little thing you put in the ground, it's like a seed.
Exactly.
You know, so when the time for harvest comes, just short time, 3 months, 6 months, at most 7 months, you are harvesting. And so there are perennial, there are annual crops. You understand? For you
one of the downsides of agriculture is actually the capital tie down, because when you put all those things inside the ground, you plant your maize, you plant your cassava, plant your yams, you have to wait months, like you said, for you to harvest. I mean, at that point in time, within that period, your capital is tied down, everything is under the ground, and you're praying like you have a good harvest. And when it turns out maybe there's an outbreak, disease outbreak, your crops die, or you have a poor harvest, you're not going to be very happy. You understand? But when you have a bumper harvest, it is joy and jubilation. But notwithstanding everything, agriculture is always
there is no way you sow that you will not reap more than what even the whole suffering put together. If you cannot farm, there are people you can hire to farm for you. Like me, I really can't farm.
Yes, and agriculture is like us. We always advise you to
I don't have the strength
to go for mixed cropping, because if you do monocropping, you might run into losses. But if you have mixed cropping, because there are intermediate, there are crops you have.
It depends on the soil.
Weeks, in month, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and there are some that stays like cassava. Sometimes it stays a year plus before you can harvest. So as you wait, you have something to.
The thing is that people should all just realize that, just like other sectors, that's how agriculture.
Let's hear from our reporter Peggy Shande, who is out there, I think at Karimo, to give us a situation report.
Hello?
Yeah, Mr. Peggy Shandy.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. You can give us situation report from your location. Tell us where you are now and report to us.
Okay, I am now at Karimo.
You are in
Abuja.
Okay, Karimo.
Karimo, Abuja, one of the satellite towns in Abuja city.
Okay.
Happening live right now at Karimo is the National Youth Council of Nigeria.
Oh, you went? They went there too.
They are also protesting right now as we speak.
Okay.
Yes, I went there too.
Okay, is it a protest or a press conference?
It's a conference. It's a
Is it a press briefing or a protest?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, Peggy.
It is a protest at the same time a press briefing.
Okay.
They are staging a protest and they want the media coverage.
Okay.
And now they are giving the federal government 48 hours to comply with their demands. And the demand is they want to participate in the palliative measures that the federal government has put in place to cushion the effects of economic hardship in the other time. If COVID-19 does not kill them, then they better die. I can also see senior officers of the police. They are also around, and they're negotiating with the leadership of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. And you know, this is coming a day after the National Association of Nigerian Students gave the federal government 72 hours ultimatum to comply with also their demands.
Yeah. Hi.
And
Merci, Joe.
Have a wonderful evening.
I pledge to Nigeria, my country. So goes the opening lines of the 6-line National Pledge of Nigeria. Today,